The grand chamber of the Galactic Council was silent. Thousands of alien leaders sat in their places, their faces cold, their eyes fixed on the large holographic screen floating above the center of the room. The blue planet, Earth, was spinning, slowly on the display. No one spoke. No one smiled. The air felt heavy, as if something important, something final, was about to happen. A tall creature with silver skin stood up from the center seat. His name was Vorek, and he was the supreme speaker of the council. His voice echoed through the room. "The final vote shall now begin," he said calmly. "Shall Earth be expelled from the Galactic Union?" The silence deepened. One by one, each member of the council raised their hand, touched their voting screen, or sent a mental signal to the central system. Red lights began to appear on the screen, one after another. Red meant yes. Red meant Earth was no longer welcome. There was no debate, no defense from Earth. They had not been told this vote was happening. The decision was already made, and Earth had no voice in it. When the last red light appeared, the final result showed 100% in favor of expulsion. The screen dimmed. Vorek looked around the chamber. So it is done. Earth is expelled. No one clapped. No one cheered. It was like removing a dying tree from a garden. Necessary, but sad. Some species had warned about this moment for years. Humans were too aggressive, too curious, too unpredictable. Others feared Earth's growing technology, their refusal to bow down, their desire to stand alone. The chamber lights went low, and slowly, the leaders began to leave. One alien turned to another and said in a whisper, "They will not take this," quietly. Far away, in the Sol system, Earth's Defense Command received a silent message. It had no greeting, no warning, no explanation. It was a single sentence. Earth has been removed from the Galactic Union, effective immediately. The message reached the President, the generals, the Space Fleet commanders, and the scientists at Luna Base. Everyone stopped. For a few seconds, no one spoke. A woman in a military uniform looked at the message again and said, "Is this a joke?" "No," replied the head of intelligence. "It's real. They've cut us off." Panic did not spread, not on Earth. Instead, something strange happened, something the aliens had never expected. Silence. Then movement. The president called an emergency meeting, but it wasn't for talking. It was for action. "All right," the president said. "If we are no longer part of their union, we'll become something else, something better." The military began locking down sensitive systems. Scientists activated secret projects. Engineers pulled old blueprints from deep storage. Plans marked only to be used in case of galactic betrayal. On Mars, mining machines changed their orders. They began digging faster. On Jupiter's moon Europa, a hidden station powered up a strange device that had been asleep for 10 years. And on the dark side of Earth's moon, a new fleet, one never registered with the Council, began construction. The humans were not crying. They were building. A secret meeting took place in a bunker beneath Antarctica. The leaders of Earth's top nations sat together in a cold room. No cameras, no reporters. A tall man in a gray suit spoke first. "They think we'll beg." "We won't," said the president. "They think we'll panic." "We won't," said the general. "They think we're weak," said the woman from Luna Base. "We're not," the president finished. "We've been ready for this." The council had made one big mistake. They believed Earth needed them, but they didn't know the truth. Earth had been preparing for this day for decades, quietly, carefully. They had seen the warnings. They had watched other planets fall when they refused to obey the Council. Earth had learned from those mistakes. They knew one day their independence would come at a price. But now, Earth would not ask for permission. They would not wait for answers. They would act. Deep inside an old mountain bunker, a voice spoke through the speakers. It was an AI, one of Earth's most powerful creations. Its voice was calm, but filled with focus. "Protocol Genesis now active. Project Breakline begins. All operatives to shadow mode." The president nodded. They closed the door. So we build our own gate. The stars outside Earth didn't change. The planets still turned. But something was different now. The humans had been pushed out, cut off. But they were not running. They were not hiding. They were planning something. And no one knew what it was. 2 weeks had passed since the Council expelled Earth. No ship came to speak. No ambassador sent a message. The silence was deep, cold, like a wall between Earth and the rest of the galaxy. But Earth was not sitting still. Underground labs in every major human city were working day and night. Code was flying across secret networks. Satellites were moving into new orbits. Civilian ships were quietly recalled. Earth Defense Command gave only one order: prepare for everything. In a dark underground hangar beneath Greenland, a massive object was being tested. It was shaped like a long black spear. No one outside Earth had ever seen it. Its name was Phantom 1. It could travel without leaving a trace. It had no heat, no light, and no signal. It was invisible, unstoppable. A man in a lab coat stood beside it. He looked tired. His voice was soft. "We weren't supposed to use this." A soldier beside him answered, "But we built it for a reason." Across the solar system, Earth's secret outposts came online. On Saturn's moon Titan, a relay station activated. On Neptune's orbit, a black satellite began scanning deep space. On Pluto, a silent weapon array lifted from the ice. Every nation was working together. There were no more borders, no more politics, only survival. In orbit above Earth, the ship Midnight Echo received a coded message. Inside the control room, Captain Leila Mendez watched the words scroll across her screen. Shadow phase activated. Recon protocol. Deep reach. She nodded once. Send out the ghost drones. Within hours, thousands of small, nearly invisible probes left from the dark side of the moon. They moved fast, quiet. They scattered across the galaxy, entering alien systems, listening, scanning, watching. Soon, strange things started happening. A communications station near the planet Neravon went offline. Its systems fried in one burst, and its backup disappeared without a signal. On the planet Boltak, the main data tower shut down for 3 hours. When it came back online, half its files were missing. No alarms had gone off. A patrol ship near Say, the outer ring of Council space, vanished. Its last message was broken static and 2 words: "Not alone." Council Command began to worry. In the Council's main chamber, Speaker Vorek stood before the others. "Something is happening," he said. "Our border systems are failing. Our sensors are being fooled." An insectoid ambassador from Jatel asked, "Is it pirates?" "No," Vorek said. "It's too clean, too exact." He didn't say what he was really thinking. He didn't speak the word that was growing in everyone's mind. Humans. A young alien officer entered the chamber with a report. "We found this," he said, showing a damaged Council beacon from deep space. It had been pulled from a debris field where a scout ship had disappeared. On its surface, someone had burned words into the metal. The message read, "We hear you. We see you. We remember." Back on Earth, in a hidden mountain base, the president stood before a group of commanders. Behind her was a large screen, showing maps of alien trade routes, Council defense grids, and secret entry points, all of it gathered in silence by Earth's deep space probes. "We are not going to attack blindly," the president said. "We're going to learn everything: where they sleep, where they store their weapons, who they trust." She looked around the room. "They thought they were gods, but gods don't hide from their own decisions. They threw us out like garbage. Now they'll understand." A young engineer entered the room and handed a data tablet to one of the generals. He looked at the screen, raised an eyebrow, and showed it to the president. She read it and smiled. "So it's ready?" The engineer nodded. "Yes, ma'am. We can jump without using their gates." Every eye turned to the screen. A glowing diagram appeared. It showed a black tunnel through space, cutting across the Council's map completely. It was not a wormhole. It was something new. Something only Earth had built. The president nodded. "Then begin Operation Breakline." Far across the stars, A council member sat in his private ship speaking to his assistant. "They're quiet," he said. "Too quiet. Humans always talk. Why aren't they screaming?" The assistant looked uneasy. Maybe they're not screaming because they've already started. The councilman laughed nervously. "Don't be silly. What can Earth do alone?" He didn't see the tiny object stuck under his ship's main engine. It was small, black, blinking once every 30 seconds. It sent a signal back to Earth. Coordinates received. Target confirmed. Phase 2. Approaching. No one knew what was coming next, but Earth did, and they weren't asking for permission. The council ship Serenity Flame was crossing neutral space on its way to a diplomatic meeting. On board were 5 high-ranking council members. They believed they were safe. No war, no warnings, no threats. Earth had not responded. No message. No retaliation. They thought the humans were quiet because they were defeated. They were wrong. Inside the command room of the Serenity Flame, the pilot noticed something strange. One of their scanners kept flashing red, then turning off. "Could be a glitch," he said, but it wasn't. 6 minutes later, the entire ship lost power for exactly 12 seconds. When the lights came back, the pilot's hands were shaking. "What was that?" one of the council members demanded. No one had an answer. Back on Earth, deep underground, Captain Layla Mendez reviewed the feed from their ghost drone. She watched the moment when the council ship lost all systems. Their backup power had kicked in, but during that short blackout, something important had happened. The drone had entered the ship. It had mapped every room, every system, every face. Layla smiled. Target blueprint complete. She sent the data to command. Earth wasn't going to wait for a fight. They were going to know every inch of the enemy first, and they were moving faster than anyone expected. Across the galaxy, council stations began reporting tiny issues. One by one, databanks were accessed, cargo crates were scanned, storage units were opened and closed without alarms. Patrol ships saw shadows just outside their vision. Always silent, always gone. When they turned to look, the fear grew. On a council military moon near Sector 12, a security team opened a supply container. Inside, instead of food or weapons, they found a human-made coin. Heavy, black, smooth. It had no words, just one symbol burned deep into the metal. A closed, human fist. The commander of the base stared at it. "What is this supposed to mean?" one of his officers answered quietly. "It means they're not afraid of us." Back on Earth, in a hidden control room, AI Command Echo 9 sent updates through thousands of encrypted lines. The Earth Intelligence Grid, EIG, was now watching 87% of all council activity in real time. One general looked at the screen and shook his head. "They still think we're angry." "We're not," said the president. "We're focused." "They still think we want to come back." "We don't," she said. "They think we're planning revenge." The president smiled. "We're planning control." Inside Mars, Deep Lab, a team of scientists worked on something huge. The room was hot, filled with smoke and power lines. In the center stood a machine unlike anything Earth had shown the galaxy. A folded drive. Not a ship. A weapon. Not one that destroyed, with fire, but one that could erase space itself. The lead scientist wiped sweat from her forehead. "It's almost ready." A man in uniform nodded. "Good. The first strike won't be loud. It'll be clean." The scientist looked up. "What if they find out before it's finished?" The man replied. "They won't. Because by the time they notice, it'll already be inside their heart." Across the stars, strange messages began showing up in council systems. Not full sentences, just fragments. "Eyes open. You shouldn't have voted." "We were silent, not sleeping." At first the council tried to block the messages, but they kept coming. Different systems, different formats, no trace, no signal. The fear became paranoia. The meetings became louder. Council security increased. Still, no one had any proof. Not yet. But far out near the edge of council space, a station named Relin 3 stopped responding. It had 2,000 council personnel on board. It was protected by 3 defense satellites. Armed, alert. In the middle of a quiet night, it simply Disappeared. Gone. No explosion. No signal. No wreckage. Just silence. The Council called it an unknown space event. But deep below, Earth's surface, in a command room filled with shadows and screens, one word appeared on a black monitor. Test successful. Back in the Council chamber, Vorek stood again, his voice no longer calm. We are being watched. We are being hunted. Someone shouted, "Who would dare?" Vorek didn't answer. He didn't need to. Everyone in the chamber already knew the answer. Humans. And they were just getting started. The Galactic Council called for an emergency meeting. All sectors were ordered to attend. No excuses. Ships from 50 different species arrived at the central hub, orbiting the twin stars of Zareth. There was panic in every message, fear in every voice. The station was full of noise. Alarms, warnings, security units running back and forth. Everyone was talking about the same thing. Relin 3 was gone. No one knew how. No one had seen an enemy. No weapons fired. No traces left behind. Just emptiness where a space station used to be. Inside the chamber, Speaker Vorek stood in silence. His skin looked pale. His eyes were wide. Around him dozens of council members shouted, "They've crossed the line! They're still weak. We should strike now. We don't even know it was humans." But someone did. An old council member from the Gryvax species stood slowly. He had lived through the first expansion war, where humans first entered the galactic scene. He spoke in a low voice. "They said nothing when we expelled them. That was the first warning." The room went quiet. They didn't scream. They didn't threaten. They disappeared. That was the second. He looked at the others, his voice colder now. "And now they are showing us exactly how quiet death can be." Silence fell over the council chamber. For the first time in 100 years, no one had a response. Meanwhile, on Earth, the operations room was fully active. Hundreds of officers sat at screens, analyzing real-time data. The holographic map of the galaxy glowed red in the areas now under human observation. Captain Layla Mendez walked across the floor, reading reports. "Council is trying to hide Relin 3, one officer said. "They're calling it a gravitational collapse." Layla smirked. "Good. Let them lie to themselves." At the back of the room, Earth's defense commander stood still. His voice was flat. "Begin next phase. Let them see our shadow." Within hours, Earth's cyber fleet moved. Thousands of ghost signals shot across space, targeting Council communication relays. Not to destroy, but to expose. One by one, the Council's deepest secrets were unlocked. Hidden war plans, secret prisons, deals with black market empires. Data files leaked into open channels. Across the galaxy, public riots broke out. The Council's image shattered like glass. A young Jatel diplomat whispered to her commander, "This is not revenge. This is domination." And it was just beginning. On the planet Haroon, home to one of the Council's largest data centers, something new happened. Not a blackout, not a leak. A human ship appeared, in orbit. No warning, no radar, no sound. It simply appeared. The defense grid fired instantly. Lasers, missiles, magnetic bursts. The human ship did not return fire. It just stayed in orbit for 10 seconds, and then vanished. No damage, no trace. But after it left, all Council systems on Haroon failed. Weapons stopped working. Data centers went dark. The planet's own satellites turned against each other and exploded in the sky. And in the dirt outside the main base, something had been burned into the ground by heat. A perfect circle, 30 meters wide. At the center of the circle was a single symbol, a human eye, watching. Back in the Council chamber, panic was now a storm. Alien voices shouted over one another. "They're in our systems. They can appear anywhere, anytime. We made a mistake expelling them." Speaker Vorek finally spoke, his voice like steel. "Enough. We must prepare for war." But war had already started. Not with armies, not with fleets, but with fear, with silence, with human shadows in places they shouldn't be. And yet, No one had seen a single casualty. No bombs dropped. No planets attacked. No one knew what humans truly wanted. Until that moment. A message appeared on every council screen at once, all at the same time. The screen went black. Then, white letters began to type. You judged us without a trial. You feared us without reason. Now we will show you what fear truly means. No voice spoke it. No ship claimed it. But every council member knew the truth. The humans were back, and they had stopped asking for justice. The Galactic Council was falling apart from the inside. Every day, another secret was exposed. Every day, another facility lost power without explanation. Ships vanished. Bases went silent. Fear took over everything. The Council's top generals gathered in a hidden station near the core worlds. 30 species. 50 war leaders. Hundreds of ships nearby, all ready for battle. But none of them had ever faced an enemy like this. Speaker Vorek stood at the front of the war room. His voice was calm, but his eyes showed something new. Doubt. They still have not attacked directly, he said. They could have wiped out more. They haven't. A tall warrior from the Noric species pounded his fist on the table. Because they enjoy watching us panic. No, said an old ambassador. Because they're not here to destroy us. Everyone turned to him. They're here to take our power. Quietly. Bit by bit. They want us weak before they even speak. And then the power died. The war room lights flickered once, twice, then turned off completely. No alarms. No warning. For 10 seconds, everything was black. When the lights returned, the hologram table was already changed. The map of the galaxy was still there. But now it was divided. One half glowing in red. The other half, dark blue. And inside the blue, hundreds of Earth markers were blinking. Vorek stared at the screen. What is this? A calm voice answered, coming from the room's own speakers. It was not angry, not loud. You expelled us. Now we've returned. Not for your seats, for your systems, for your control. All screens in the room turned blue. The same symbol appeared everywhere. A single, open human eye. Then, the voice spoke again. We will not burn your worlds. We will not erase your people. We will make you choose, obey, or be replaced. The war leaders froze. One of them shouted, We are the Council! The voice replied, cold and final. Not anymore. At that same moment, dozens of Earth fleets uncloaked across the galaxy. Near every major council world, near every supply line, near every weapon facility. But they did not attack. They simply hovered, visible, silent, watching. On Earth, President Leon stood at the center of the global command tower. Her face was calm as she looked at the live feed from every fleet. They see us now, one officer said. She nodded. They see the future. From behind her, Commander Layla Mendez stepped forward. We've taken half the galaxy without firing a shot. Not half, the president said. Just enough to show them we could. The officer turned. What if they don't surrender? The president smiled softly. Then we press one key, and everything they know shuts down. Far away, in the deepest part of space, the final message was sent to every council system. Earth will never ask for a seat again, because now Earth runs the table. The council's rule was over. No great battle, no last stand. The humans never needed war. They only needed time. And when the galaxy gave them silence, they built something unstoppable inside it.